the same thing. So I think as long as it's really just names, I don't think it's necessary to swap names. There's actually the opposite with Game of Thrones, Song of Ice and Fire in German. Song of Ice and Fire was translated into German. Obviously, this book series is quite old by now. The guy doesn't write as fast as he should. And the first books, the names weren't translated. So it was Jon Snow, and it was Kingsmouth, and stuff like that. And only later they translated those things because from a lore perspective it made more sense. Because Snow, for example, Jon, it's not even a name, it's more a term for this category of people, for bastard sons born in the north. Like the others had flour and sand, etc. So in this regard, I understand it. If stuff gets translated that has a reason for being translated. And I understand that a book might sound much better if all the words are in the same language. I had this discussion with my dearest husband already in the past. I think there is benefits and downsides to it, as with most things in life. Czech Simpsons have the best voice actors. I can't say anything about that. I can say the German ones are also pretty good. Although there are new ones rather recently. For Homer, for example, because I'm not sure if the old one retired or if he actually died. I'm not going to say anything, but he was amazing. The new one, I think we're just used to the old one so much. Yeah, exactly. Like, I understand that, Wagaga. Like, the Luna, Looney, etc. There are reasons for it. As I said, I think there's reasons for and against it. There's no right or wrong. I just find it a very bold decision, especially for something like Harry Potter. With such a gigantic fandom all over the world. Could have also resulted in the opposite, in like people hating it. But then with the so she was called Strelenka Lovegood? Or how was she called in Czech? Because then her nickname doesn't work anymore, does it? With Looney. Oh yeah, that is also great. If a book gets translated first by someone and then by someone else, and they change it up halfway through, also wonderful. Wonderful. Stennis now just reads books in English. I mean, most books are written in English, so I understand why. Personally, I really love reading fantasy in German, because German language lends itself beautiful to fairy tales and fantasy. But I prefer sci-fi, or really, like sci-fi I prefer English. And pretty much anything else, if possible, in the language of the author. So if it's an English person in English, if it's a German person in German. But fantasy and sci-fi are those two things where I'm like, this is English, this is German, and it sounds better. Romatvor, hello, how are you?